a wedding. So this mostly becomes your medium-term goals. And then there are short-term goals, which can be something between 0 to 5 years. It might include, vacation. It might include anything that, maybe you're planning to buy a car or something. So that becomes your short-term goals. So what I always encourage, our anyone in this society or anyone, among our clients, is to first understand what do you want to do with your money. Do you want to, build a corpus for retirement? Do you want to, buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to, have a wealth protection journey for yourself? So that's the first thing or the preliminary thing that we should look into. Followed by that, then we try to understand where and how we should invest. So basically, you need to time or your investment in appropriate manner and in a disciplined way, so that you also keep on building your wealth. Along with that, you also keep on protecting your wealth. A lot of times in India, we always discuss about how do you build our wealth. Right? You invest in mutual funds, you invest in bonds, you invest other structured products. However, never discuss about how do you protect that thing also as well. So in this presentation, I'm also going to tell you about that. How do you protect your wealth? And second, how do you track that? For example, if you want to build a corpus of maybe 50 lakhs over the span of next 5 years, or 1 crore in the span of next 5 years, right? How do you keep on tracking that how you're going to reach to that goal? So that's one thing that people, they generally keep on investing. They keep on doing SIPs. They keep on doing investing something in NPS or other structured solutions or products, but they never track that. And at the end of the 5 years, they understand that even they've kept on investing, the total corpus that they had has fallen short of the goal that they're planning in their mind. That is one thing that we'll also discuss about. And of course, how does it help you overcome the expected and unexpected up and downs in your life? Right. So see, at the end of the day, life is not linear, right? You might have illness, you might have some kind of medical emergencies, you might have some kind of other emergencies also as well. How do you protect yourself from this kind of stuff and secure your wealth? And how proper financial planning can help you reduce the risk of inflation. There's one topic that people keep on avoiding, which is inflation. That means the amount that is required to buy, right, any kind of item or substance today will not remain the same 10 years down the line. The prices are going to increase. But if you keep on saving your money in a piggy bank, right, your money will remain the same. It will not going to increase with time. So money generally loses its value over a span of 5-10 years. So that is one area we would also again discuss about, and we'll show you some live graphs or pictures or numbers to help you understand how it erodes the value of your money. And second, of course, how you can beat that thing also as well. So this is generally a 5-step structured solution that you have thought about that we are going to present today. And this is how we are going to take it ahead.
Yeah. So also, so like not always one will have a, let's say, a financial goal or a financial plan. Like he might not be planning for a particular goal. Let's say you could have a plan of, let's say, buying a car, buying a house. So like you keep on like completing those plans. But at a particular moment, there could be a time that you might not have a plan like this, like a particular thing to buy, or let's say take a vacation and all. But still your money cannot be, let's say, like lying idle. So you kind of need to invest it, even though you might not have a particular plan, but that money that you are earning, that needs to grow at a rate, so that, as Arnab mentioned, that there is inflation which comes into picture. It's like, let's say you uh, your salary, you percent and all, but if the prices of, let's say, food, petrol and all, they are like rising every year by 15%, so that your net earning is like it's a 5% negative kind of earning. So you need to plan your investment in a way that you also take into account inflation and like other other factors also you need to consider while doing the investments.
Right, Varun. So this is basically what Varun has said. Of course, you can't let your money sit idle because then it erodes the value of your money. And followed by that, we can also, take ahead how you can, what are the main things? Or so basically, this is a slide that mostly talks about, what can be your goals at the end of the day. So if you look at the slide, you will see that first can be taking care of your elders. So maybe you want to take care of your mom, you want to take care of your dad, or you want to take care of your grandparents, right? And they would require a significant corpus of money to be taken care of. Do you want to invest, invest somewhere that helps you taking care of parents or your grandparents. Second is travel. I want to travel somewhere outside India. I want to travel somewhere inside India. I want to travel, to some place I like to go. How much fund it will require? How I can arrange for that fund, and how where I can invest so that it helps to go to that or reach that corpus in a certain amount of time. Start business. This is one of the key goals that some people they always think about. Everyone, someone maybe dreams of starting a business. They're thinking that I am doing this, and maybe 5 years down the line I will do something of my own. How much money would I require? So for example, if I require 1 crore, 2 crore rupees to start, how much SIP should I do right now so that I gain that after 5 years, and what is the rate of interest which I should gain after 5 years? International career. That is, for example, some of you might be wanting to have a career that not only pertains to India, but you want to go outside, present somewhere, some very theaters or good area in Europe or maybe US. How to start that? How to go to that particular country and ensure that you start off the career there? That can be one of them. New home. This is a very very common thing that we all have. Everyone dreams of having a house. Everyone dreams of starting having a anything of their own. How much corpus do you need? Where do you need to buy a house? Do I need to buy a house in Mumbai? Do I need to buy a house in Delhi? What is the house cost after 5 years? And what can help me to buy that house? So these are the 5 important things. Of course, there's other thing also as well. Home improvement. Of course, you're doing some interior decoration in the house. You want to improve your interiors. You are taking some interior decoration stuff. How much money do you require? And of course, then comes your next phase, mostly your child education. So for example, your child is right now maybe 3 or 4, and you are dreaming that he's going to go to an international school. He's going, what is the fees that is going to be there? How much money do you want to have at that point of time, and how much rate do they increase every year? So that's where the inflation also comes in, along with the rate of growth. For your own protection, this is one of the very less talked topic about, right? How do you protect your wealth, and how do you ensure that in case of sudden emergencies, medical emergencies, illness, how do you keep on protecting that thing so that you don't have to come back, or you don't have to take away your investments to finance that? So that is also one of the things we talk about. Retirement. Of course, at the end of the day, post retirement, the amount of income that any one of us are making, and it's not me, not Brown, or whatever you people are also making, it significantly goes down. So how to ensure that you maintain that lifestyle after maybe 60 years or maybe after 55 years without taking away the investments that you have made? How to ensure the dividend or the income or the interest income that you make from the investments that you made sustain the lifestyle that you have? So basically, these are generally the overall goals that we plan off. We talk to our clients on that, or we talk to anyone on that. And I think these are the predominantly important goals that everyone speaks about. And anything else, if you have in mind, of course, you can drop a question to ma'am, and we'll be happy to take that also as well. We can discuss on that, and we can take that up in Q&A session.
So these were the majorly the goals that usually our clients also have. So these goals can be like broken down by period. So like travel could be a, let's say, 3 months or a 6 month kind of goal. Then you have a, like, one of them is like buying a home. So buying a home is like once, most of the time it's like once you start a family and like you have been living in city like Mumbai and all, so like you see that the prices are like quite high, like the rental prices. So you plan to like buy a house. So then it could be a, let's say, 6 month or 1 year, like you decide, you look for houses around, and also like after 1 year or 1.5 year you would be like purchasing the house. So these were the different types of goals. And what happens is that like the goals could be short term, medium term, or long term. But the investments for these, like, they may vary like across products. But these needs to start right now. It's not like if it's a long term goal, you like kind of you will be investing after some time. The investment starts now. The product varies, the time frame varies, but the investment, like for all these goals, starts at the very moment.
Right. That mostly brings us to our next slide, right? So how to build a plan, right? How to ensure that what money do I have currently is the first thing. So for example, if I know what my starting point is, I'll be able to know what my end goal would be. So the basic thing where I start is I want to know what's my current net worth. So what do you mean by net worth? Net worth means It's your asset minus your liabilities. So what does asset mean? Asset means, for example, currently you have 50 lakhs in your FDs. So that becomes your asset. What is a liability? Liability means currently you have 10 lakh rupees in some kind of debt or loans. So that becomes your liability. So your net worth is equal to 50 lakh that you have in your FD minus 10 lakh that you have as a debt or a loan to any of the banks. So 40 lakh becomes your current net worth, right? So that is a starting point, right? From where you should start building your financial plan. Followed by that, you need to identify what are your goals. So first, as Varun said, and we also discussed previously, you need to understand your short-term goals, you need to understand your medium-term goals, you need to understand your long-term goals. Short-term goals might be taking a vacation. Medium-term goals might means you want to buy a house or something. Long-term goals may be something that you want 10 plus years down the line, which means you want to retire. So that's what you need to identify, and you need to identify the money that is going to have a safety net, that if you achieve that amount of money, you are well enough for the entire time period. Last, that and our third point, this comes about the money part. And of course, when people talk about the money, people forget about the inflation piece. See, what we are buying at 100 rupees right now would not be 100 rupees 20 years down the line. So at an inflation rate of maybe 5-6%, it will grow as high as approximately 250 rupees, right, over a span of 20 years. So do we have that 250 rupees to ensure that my lifestyle is maintained? That's the question we need to ask ourselves, and that's the important thing where inflation comes into picture. Followed by that, and this is one of the most important thing, how much risk I can take. See, everyone, right, who's sitting in the room, who is our client, who's anyone has a very different risk appetite compared to others. What my risk appetite is, it would not be similar to what Varun has. What Varun's risk appetite is would not be similar to what anyone has in the room. So you first need to understand how much risk you can take. And there are of course a lot of tools that are present in this, lot of websites, and we HSBC also have that too, that it helps us to understand how much risk we can take. What is your risk appetite? So basically, if you are willing to take less amount of risk, we mostly talked about investing in FDs, because that is where your money is parked, right? And you can gain a certain amount of income out of it. However, if your risk appetite is more, you can invest in mutual funds, equities, and all those stuff, so that you can do that risk and you can handle the volatility in the market. Followed by that, the fifth point is that where should I invest? Now, that's what I was talking about when I talk about the risk appetite. So once you get to know if you're a high risk or a low risk taker, then comes your division of your asset classes. Your asset classes can be equities, your asset classes can be mutual funds, it can be FDs, it can be real estate, it can be precious metals like gold and silver. This all depends on the risk appetite that you have currently. So once you get to know that thing, you can then think about the asset classes where we can go and invest. So basically, this is what the 5 points that Jenny talked about, right? In among all the client webinars and seminars, or among all the people, to understand how to build a plan so that you can secure your end-to-end journey for financial planning.
So, like understanding your risk profile is important because, for example, like there are two people, right? Two people who have done an MBA and like they just joined let's say a particular company. So among these two, one would have, let's say, funded the MBA fee through the loan. Like usually banks provide loan for your masters, even for graduation. So one person had like taken the loan to fund the like his or her masters. Then the other person, let's say his or her father would have or mother would have funded that. Like let's say he or she has a good family background, so they funded it. So when they join company, let's say at the same salary, at the same level, but their liabilities are different, right? So let's say one is staying with the parents in Mumbai itself, so that person need not pay for rent, and let's say education was funded by parents, so there are no like interest payments that that person needs to do. On the other hand, let's say that person the other person moved to a new city, so he's paying for his or her rent. Apart from rent, there would be monthly loan installments that the person needs to do. So the risk appetite for these two people doing the, like having the same education background, joining the same company at the same level, same salary, but the risk appetites would be different because one person like needs to take care of rent and like loan interest payments, and the other person like lives with a family, no loans, the rent is being saved. So like they will have what you call, let's say, surplus kind of surplus money, and that would be invested in a different way for both the clients, like both the people. So this way you like one needs to assess like what are like what are your particular, let's say, source of income, and where you need to kind of like pay, like pay for any essentials, or like your liabilities, which could be loan, home loan, it could be education loan, or EMI. Let's say you had purchased car previously, so you had like low EMI payments for that. So the risk profile would tell you that what kind of risk or what kind of investment products you can invest in, because there are we'll cover it later, but there are investment products with different kind of liquidity, different type of risk, different tenors. So that basis, like once you know, once you have done your risk profiling, you would know that these are the investment product that would suit your lifestyle or your income stream, or like your let's say EMI or like liabilities.
Right. So coming to this brings out on few of the myths that we have about financial well-being. So first, and we see this myth very often when we talk to people and we understand what their goals are. They say that I'm currently 25 and I retired probably 55 or 60. So why do I need to start investing, right? Why do I need to let me enjoy my life? I want to go on some place else. I want to do something else in my life. Let me enjoy my vacations. Let me enjoy. Why should I think about retirement at 60? The major issue is that the more time you remain invested, the bigger your corpus becomes. And we have graphs, we have numbers, we have a lot of people talking about this. However, people does not understand this thing, that earlier and earlier you start investing with a very small amount, right? If you invest something in FDs, if you invest something in your SIPs, do some mutual funds, it grows with time. It compounds very high when you reach at the age of 60. So the first recommendation always, to people, that you just start planning your goal as early as you can, so that when you are at a retirement age, when you're at around 60, you don't need to think about your corpus, right? That how much I have built or how much do I need to build so I can retirement peacefully. Or when you are 50 and you're about to retire at 60, you find out that maybe you are a huge amount short, and then you're taking out money and doing SIPs and doing FDs. Just don't do that. Start with a small amount, do it consistently over a period of 25, 30, 35 odd years, and see it rip, see it compound. And at the end of 60, you will understand that you have more than what you have thought you would be at that point of time. So that's the first record that I always have. Second, what people say is that saving and investing are the same thing. Believe me, friends out there, they're not the same. Saving is something that you keep in your piggy bank, or saving, or whatever, as a money that keeps parked somewhere. So for example, if I'm making, let's consider 100 rupees at the end of a month, right? And I spend 30 rupees, which I believe that I'm saving 70 rupees. And you think that it's a good thing to do. Of course, that's good. You are, living beyond your means. Maybe you are living, somewhere, sharing your rooms, staying in some rented apartments, and you're saving 70 bucks. Good thing. But if you do not invest that value depreciates over the time. So this two are completely different thing. The 70 rupees saved would erode its value over and over the time if you do not invest somewhere and see that money grow. So remember that thing, saving is not equal to investing. In investing, you have to invest in some kind of structured solutions, some kind of products where you can see your money grow. Keeping a money in your piggy bank or somewhere is not going to help you achieve your goals. Myth number 3, one does not review the financial goals and it needs to be just done once and you're sorted for the life. It's not true. It's not true. Market changes every other day. Inflation changes every other day. Volatility, as we see currently in Indian markets, is very, very high. So once so for example, 10 years down the line, you have thought that I need to buy a house in Mumbai. It would cost me something around 3 odd crores and I'm sorted, right? But what happens is that maybe the house pricing will rise after 5 years. And instead of 3 crores, the house price will become 3.5 crores. Then how will you make that 50 lakhs rupees extra? So to keep on consistently visiting those reviews, keep on consistently visiting those goals, you need to understand that if something has changed, right? For example, you have invested in IFD, which is giving you 6.5%, 7%. Next day, government decides that they, or any bank decides that they're going to reduce the rate that they're receiving in FD, and it comes from 7% to 6%. Believe me, it's just a difference of 1%, but at the end of the day, it reduces a lot of net worth that you're going to make after 10 years down the line. So do I want to continue with that FD? No, I need to invest in some other asset class that gives me 7% return so that I can buy that house at Mumbai at 3.5 crores. We need to constantly review those goals. We need to constantly review financial parameters and how that, and how it can help you achieve your goals. And last, the financial myth, myth number 4. Financial strategy can only be undertaken when you already have a lot of money. People think that, okay, I've just started, my job now. I am just 25 years old, 22 years old, had my first play, had my first big screen thing. I don't have that much money, right? I'm just making some few bucks, right? Maybe when I'll get 2 years down the line, I'll have maybe a big corpus, then I'll start investing. Believe me, 2 years down the line, when you have that big corpus, your mindset will still remain the same. It's just that you will think that now I have maybe 100 rupees, when I have 500 rupees, I'll invest. Believe me, when you have 500 rupees, you will think when I have 1000 rupees, I'll invest. So start investing when you have that 100 rupees in your pocket. Start investing when you think that, because the time in the market is more important than how you time the market. So that's the final thing that you always recommend. Start early, be disciplined, keep on investing in SIPs, try to
a retirement, or like we fixate on our investments or our plan with a particular age or particular action, but that's not right. Usually I'll give one example of insurance. Like usually, or like most of the people eventually buy a, let's say, a term plan, right? Let's say 3 crore, 5 crore, or 1 crore of term plan. But what happens is that they wait for a particular action or like a particular time frame in their life. So it could be like once I get married, once I get a child, then I'll buy a term plan. But what happens is that let's say you just graduate and like start earning, right? If you buy a term plan at that age, let's say 22 or 23, you would be paying around, let's say, 15 to 16,000 a year over a period of, let's say, 30-35 years. Okay. But if you're buying the same cover plan after, let's say, after an age of 30 years or 20 years, or after you get married, you have a child, 32, 33 years. So your the monthly installment or the premium, what you call, that gets increased, right? So the same plan that you would have got for, let's say, 15 to 16,000 like a year over the period of 35 years, now you would be paying anything between 30 to 35,000 a year over like the same time frame. So that's the difference. So this was one example where, like, if you start early, you would not be only saving the money, you would also kind of like get a head start. And like let's say there could be situations like market situations and all, there could be some new regulatory changes and all which might not be in your favor. Let's say you don't buy a particular product or invest in a particular product at a particular age, and let's say some new regulation had come, the taxation on that particular thing has changed. So earlier a particular thing was tax free, but now the due to policy changes it has come under a particular tax bracket, so it could change. So when you could, like, once you do your risk profiling, you know what are your goals. So, and you, like, you can see like these are the investment product that suits you. You kind of need to start investing at the very moment and not wait for a particular trigger or particular time frame in your life after which you kind of decide to do or start investing.
Right. So same goes for health insurance also as well. So people keep on thinking that I don't require a health insurance right now. I'm completely fine, and maybe I'll think about a health insurance when something comes up. Believe me, first of all, you don't know when a health crisis happens. You don't know when the emergencies come up. So it's better to be, safe than sorry. That's the first thing I'll say. And similarly, as you grow old with time, The premium that you pay for a health insurance becomes more and more costly, when if you started it earlier. So, these are the two things, how you can protect your wealth at that point of time. Now, see, at the end of the day, people think that financial well-being, this is a very, very, complex thing. I don't understand math, I don't understand numbers, I don't understand money. How do I ensure, right, that at the end of the day, what is good for me? I don't understand that, that graphs, that 7% growing constantly over a span of 20 years, 30 years, that number looks very difficult to me. I don't understand that. Then here we are, we're just clearing the financial jargon for you. There are two things to it if you look at that. One is a financial well-being kind of things. It means, first of all, you need to ensure that your day-to-day finances are controlled. For example, if I want to buy grocery today and it costs me maybe 1,000 rupees, do I have 1,000 rupees in my pocket? Yes. So that's the first criteria. Followed by that, right? Then we discuss about how much you can invest over and above that 1,000 rupees so that we can achieve our goal, right? So basically, first we ensure that we have money to pay our bills. We have money to, we have a life without worry, at least for the next 30, 60, 90 days, right? Some emergency corpus that we build for ourselves. And once we have built that emergency corpus, maybe for the last, next 3 months, we ensure that how we can, then build our investment product for ourselves or investment suit for ourselves, right? And of course, for everyone, as you spoke before, the needs are different than others, right? While for some, we are going to build a generation wealth, we're trying to protect our wealth, right? And for others, it might become that we want to do something that helps us in achieving a goal that we wanted for ourselves. So the risks are different, the goals are different, right? And of course, the third point that you're talking about is the saving and investments. If you look at that, and as we can see in this, in this deck also as well, saving means keeping money aside for a specific purpose. Investment means investing that saving in appropriate asset class that helps you to achieve your required financial goals, right? So basically, if we're talking about short-term investments, we're talking about long-term investments. So basically, for short-term investments less than 1 to 5 years, we mostly talk about investing in FDs. We talk about investing in mutual funds, which are mostly debt mutual funds or liquid mutual funds, or it invest about talking in short-term equity mutual funds that helps you in achieving a goal. Of course, if you have the knowledge of doing direct equity, right, which mostly includes the stock market, you can invest in there also as well. However, for long-term investments, which is more than 5 years, we mostly talk about investing in mutual funds. We talk about investing in perpetual bonds. We talk about investing, in long-term capital risk-taking equities. So basically, if you have some money which you think that you will not peak out, right, before 5 years, right, then you invest in this kind of things. And this brings us to one of the most important factor that is very, very, very less discussed about, which is called liquidity. So liquidity is something, right, in very simple terms, is how much you need over a span of 1 year, over a span of 5 years, over a span of 10 years. So for example, I know that I have maybe 10 lakh rupees, which I don't need for a time span of maybe 5 years, right? That's okay, that's parked somewhere. I'm okay to, I'm okay with that without that 10 lakh rupees. And if it's parked somewhere, I'm okay. So you can invest that thing over a long-term horizon asset class that is going to help you to grow that thing without taking that money out. So see, market is volatile. It will go up, it will go down, stock prices fall, companies move. However, if you keep that thing in an equity-based thing, it can help you years. In that kind of thing, we ask you to mostly invest in short-term liquid funds where you can take the money out, short-term FDs, right, that rotates over a certain period of time, and from where you can take that money out as and when it's required. So basically, this is how you diversify that thing, right, and how you diversify your portfolio and ensure that you keep on having your liquidity, and also at the same point of time, you keep on increasing your financial assets so that you reach your retirement or house planning as and when you can.
So, like talking about financial well-being, it's like one must be in control of the money that that person earns or like spends. So let's say for a salaried person, he knows like on a monthly basis, like he would be getting salary, a particular salary at this particular date. But let's say if someone runs a business or like someone is like self-employed, so in that case, you would not know like what's your like monthly kind of salary, like what's the ticket size, like on which particular date you will like get the payment. So what can be done is that let's say you open two different account. One is where you get like you do your business transaction, right? You get your payments on a one particular account, and other account is for your like personal kind of account. So for the first account, like your business account, like over a period of 6 months or 12 months, you can like take an average, like this is the amount that I'm getting on an average. Like let's say a particular amount A, you like track it for 6 months, and you come to know that on an average monthly I get a amount A. So this is your kind of monthly salary. So on a particular day of the month, you can kind of transfer that amount A to your this account every month. Like you can have a standing instruction kind of thing. So for every month you transfer that amount from your business account to your personal account. So you'll know that this is the amount, or this is your kind of salary that you'll get on a particular date every month. So once you get that salary in your account, then you can like let's say there is this thing called SIP in mutual fund, which is like systematic investment plan. So you start an SIP, and on a monthly basis at this particular time you kind of the money gets automatically deducted, and like the investment happens. So on a monthly basis, like you are like able to plan that this you get a kind of you can say like a self-made kind of salary that comes at a particular day. This is the date on which like your SIP start. And if like like there could be months, right, where you get some extra charge and all, like you get some extra salary. So on those months, what you can do, you can like transfer more money from your business account to your personal account, and then you can like do a top up kind of thing, or start another SIP in some another fund. So this way you would know like this is the amount that you are getting every month, and your investment happens automatically at this particular day of the month.
So adding to this, there is also one more thing that we talk to our clients about, which is called percentage backed investing. So we call it PBI, percentage backed investing. What does it mean? That means people who are salaried, right? They know that maybe at the 31st of the month, I'm going to get some money. So I'm going maybe 100 rupees and I put 10 rupees in SIP and it keeps on compounding. What about people who don't have a regular source of income, who some businessmen, performing artist? So what I always tell them is that you always invest a percentage of the money that you get. For example, on the month of maybe you have got some money in Jan, maybe you got some money in Fev, and those are not similar. You invest certain percentage of a money at the very start. If you have got maybe, for example, 100 rupees, at that point of time, you take out maybe as per your risk appetite, as per the financial jargon, let's consider 30% of your money out from the very start. So from 100, you take out the 30% of the money, you put it in FD, you put it in mutual funds, you put it in bonds, anything that suits your risk appetite. And the remaining 70, you keep on using for your daily expenses. Similarly, for February, maybe you have received now 200 rupees. Just take out 30% of the money, which is now 60 rupees, and put that thing in different asset class as per your financial needs. And remaining 140, now if you think that remaining 140 is too much, right? Then you take out 100 rupees and you keep out 100 rupees for your current expenses. Invest that 100 rupees in FDs or saving classes or any type of asset classes. So that's one thing that we keep on, investing or telling to our people who do not have, a very, very regular source of income like salaried employees. And I think that's one of the key things that we tell people also to invest in. Now coming to this, right, this is where we talk about, we are talking about is inflation. So this is a graph, right, at the end of the day. It's a very complex looking graph. It shows a lot of numbers, shows a lot of data and stuff. But this graph tells a story. It tells, right, so for example, right, you are a 25-year-old guy, and let's consider that you have an annual expense of INR 18 lakhs. okay, which means 1.5 lakhs a month. That's what we're expending on, right? Over a time span of next 35 years, that means when you turn 60, that INR 18 lakh is going to become INR 134 lakhs. It is 1.34 crore a year at a just merely inflation rate of 4%. So at an inflation rate of 4%, to sustain your lifestyle that you're having at 18 lakhs, you have to pay 1.34 crores and ensure that your lifestyle increases a very small amount. So basically you have considered that every 1 year your lifestyle value is going to increase by 1 lakh, and at a 4% inflation you have to pay 1.34 crores. So this graph is complex, the numbers are further complex, but the story tells a very simple thing. What lifestyle you are currently having on 18 lakhs, right? To sustain that lifestyle at the age of 60, you have to pay 1.34 crores odd, right? And it's with a very, very, very merely inflation rate that India is having. So guys, that's what the key point of the slide is. I don't want to go much into the slide. I don't want to discuss much on the slide. However, what I believe is that this is a key point that you're trying to prove all across, that you start to invest early, you start to park your money in asset classes that helps you beat those inflation, helps you to achieve that lifestyle that you dream of when you're currently at 25.
So this graph shows you only the like expenses and all. So it's obviously not like if you are earning 100 today, you'll earn only 100 after, like once you turn 65. Obviously, your income would be like income all would be increasing and all. But this graph specifically talks about the purchasing power of money. So it's like what 100 rupee can get you today will not be the same what 100 rupee will get you after, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years, even after 1 year. So this is what this particular graph talks about. Even though your salary would be increasing, like, but your investment amount or your the return that you get would be increasing, but you have to also take into account the inflation, like the prices around you, like how they are increasing, and whether your return or let's say whether your salary is like increasing at a rate which can beat this inflation number.
Right. So how you can beat that, right? So previous deck was complex and this deck is simple, right? You need to start early at the end of the day. So that's where this graph starts, or we discuss about at the end of the day. So basically we have given two examples. One is a lady called Priya. She is investing a very small amount, 2000 per month, in a systemic investment plan in mutual fund at the age of 25, right? And he's maybe he's getting a return of 12% on mutual funds, right? And total corpus he's accumulating at the age of 60 is 1.16 crores. So just 2000 rupees investment per month in a SIP at the age of 25 with a nominal investment return of 12% is going to give it 1.16 crores at the end of 60 years. Similarly, Rajan, for example, he's investing at the age of 30, 35 at an investment rate of 4,000 per month. And at the age of 60, he's accumulating only 0.72 crores at the end of 60 years. This simple maths, right? It just shows that a person who has started investing 10 years down the line will almost end with 60% less corpus compared to what Priya has been earning. So that's what we're talking about. We should start early. We should start, when you start getting our first salary, when you start, we're able to perform, and this would help us. Even the small amount is going to help us to, build a large amount of corpus at the end of maybe 35, 30 years down the line, right? And of course, as we discussed about what are the goals, it can be anything. It can be like passing on wealth. It can be a long-term savings. It can be retirement planning. It can be children's future and education, long-term care. Everything, right? At the end of the day, if you start investing early, is going to help you achieve that goal as fast as you can compared to if you start investing late.
So it's not like if you have crossed 25 then or a particular, let's say 35, now you cannot invest kind of thing. It's just like once you like become quite, let's say, aware about like investment and all, you should not wait for a particular age. You just start as low or as simple as possible, but at least you start investing in some or the other product which suits your risk profile, suits your income, suits your expenses.
Right. So currently, what are the different type of instruments that are available in India for wealth creation? So basically, if you look at the circle on the left, these are the different kinds of investment tools or investment asset classes that are present. And of course, you can take it from anywhere, right? Various websites give it and all the things. And the seven or five, whatever the points that you're talking about, that can be anything like equity. It can be like term deposits, which mostly includes your FD. It can include government schemes. It can include bonds and debentures. It can include your provident funds. It can be your employee provident fund. It can be public provident fund. It can insure precious metals like gold and silver. It can include mutual fund. It can include alternates, right? That's one of the asset classes also as well that is currently growing up. And of course, at the end of the day, it can also include protection schemes like that of insurance. So insurance, you can include ULIP, you can include normal term insurance. So whatever that helps you in availing your wealth creation. So if you also look at the right hand side, you can also talk about the risks that it entails, and we ensure that you match it along with your risk parameter to ensure that you invest in the right asset class. So for example, anything that you're investing in direct equity generally is classified as high risk class, while anything that you invest maybe in term deposit or PPF or RBI bonds, these are generally considered as low risk class, because at the end of the day, your capital remains protected. However, what you make more and over the capital is just the income or the interest income that you are making. So that is almost nil risk. However, when you invest in direct equity, or in stock markets, that because of market volatility, which you're currently seeing, a lot of ups and downs in the market, it might happen that the capital protection is not there. So I'll always tell you that you go on, you invest whatever your risk profile is, you invest what your financial goal is over the next 5 6 years or maybe 10 years 15 years down the line, and keep on investing. Be disciplined, just keep on investing in those stuff.
Yeah. So talking about different instruments, so you could see like there are different risk like attached or like pertains to different investment products. So one should always invest or look to invest which in the product which suitably matches the risk profile of that particular person. So FD, if you talk about FD, it's kind of almost a virtually a nil kind of risk, because bank's gonna like pay you back your deposit, and it could be a quarterly, half yearly, or a yearly kind of interest that the bank would pay. Similarly, for public provident fund or anything, any government scheme is like it qualifies as a nil risk, because it's like the government who would be kind of like paying back your money to you. Then there are different, let's say stock and all. You would be like many of you would be seeing like the prices go up, prices go down. So there is no capital protection. Like what do you mean by capital protection? Is like if you invest 100 rupee, apart from the income or the coupon that you would get, that 100, like you should get back your 100. So that capital is protected in, let's say FD or a PPF, or let's say RBI kind of any scheme by government. So that many of the people, let's say, who have low risk appetite means that they don't want to lose their money kind of thing. So they, if they invest 100, let's say they'll get a 5 rupee kind of interest, they are okay with 5 rupees of interest, but that 100 they should get back, that 100 should remain. So they could kind of invest in a FD which gives a 5% kind of return. But there could be people like who, let's say, start early, they don't have major liabilities. Let's say a student who just like graduates and starts earning and all. So that person if does not have liabilities and all, so that person can obviously look to invest in like a stock market, where like the returns are, let's say, on a higher side, but the like risk is also higher, like direct stock equities and all. So I think some of the schemes under you could cover under
Right.
mutual funds.
Right. So see, for mutual funds, we mostly divide that into equity and debt and hybrid. So equity are mostly where a mutual fund or a AMC is investing directly in the capital markets. So basically that means they take a money out of you, right? They make a pool of the money, and then they invest in any kind of whatever the companies that are currently trading current stock exchanges. Debt is something where they're investing in those bonds or government schemes. So basically where the money is secured, of course, the amount of return that you get is lower compared to what you would make in equity. And hybrid is where it's a mix of equity and debt at the end of the day. So basically, on a simple terms, these are various three parts where mutual funds are currently divided. And at the end of the day, it all depends on your risk profile, where you want to invest, what is your financial goals. If you want to reach a goal fast and you have a high appetite of risk, invest there. Invest where you know where you feel that you will have more chance of making the money. If you have a low risk appetite and you don't have goals that need to be attained on a very small, fast, invest in debt funds. You make money out of that. And almost since we're almost at the end of this, right, we bring us to our last slide at the end of the day. Of course, the numbers are just for illustrative purposes and they do not ensure that this is a number that you're going to make in future. And this is not also indicative of past how much they have made, right? There's some tax saving alternatives because we have got a lot of questions how to save taxes and stuff. There's other few tax saving alternatives that you have. One of them is of course the national pension scheme, which the government runs. There are ELSS funds. These are mostly market linked returns. There's public provident fund. There's bank FDs. There's health insurance. There's also a Sukanna Samriddhi Yojana, which is for your girl child, right, and the age of the girl, and life insurance that varies from plan to plan. So basically, along with this, what I ensure that you invest your wealth, you also invest that you can have some tax saving alternatives in your kitty also as well, so that you can make a healthy portfolio balance overall. So that brings almost to the end of the slide. Brown, if you have something to add.
So tax plays a really important part in your investment journey because let's say a particular product, let's say, is taxed at, let's say, at your income slab, and you, let's say for example, you are in the income slab where you kind of pay 30% of tax of your income. So if that particular product is taxed at your marginal tax rate, so if let's say you are earning 10% in a product, but since taxation is at your income slab, so you'll get 7 post tax. Let's say there is a similar product which gives less return, but the taxation on that is less. Let's say long-term capital gain tax of 12.5%. So that return may be lower, but post-tax return, since the taxation is at 12.5% for that product, post-tax return would be better for this particular product. So you need to also compare the taxation and which particular product suits your tax liability as well. So I think we are almost on the clock. So yeah,
I think that makes that brings us to the end of this deck. I think thank you all friends who have joined, and we'll be open to Q&A now.
Thank you, gentlemen. We from the music world think that we make the music, but I think you are talking about making music in another way, the music of the money. So best luck to all of shared financial plan.
Well,
very tricky, yeah?
I think this Arnav had kind of covered it during the session where we said that you may be at any income bracket or at any particular age, you should be looking after your financial well-being, and it's not the financial planning or structuring your investment. It does not depend upon your it depends upon your age and income, but it does not depend when you have to start it. It's early the better. So you may be at any income bracket, you could be at any point in time, just start investing.
So there is no prescription as such, if I understand.
Yeah.
It has to be on a personal choice or option, and as you mentioned, your own risk appetite.
Right.
Yeah.
And your own situation you have to gauge and then decide, okay, now I need to start really investing for the future.
Right.
Right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. How much cash reserve would you typically recommend for someone whose income fluctuates heavily? Is it the similar kind of?
So what I always say is this kind of thing is that, so you should always understand first how much is required to run your daily expenses, right? To run your grocery, to pay your bills. That is the money that you should take out, and that differs from person to person. As Varun said some few minutes back, someone who's living on rent in Mumbai would keep a very different cash expense rather than someone who's staying in his parents' house in Mumbai. So first understand how much money you need to save for yourself. Remaining you invest. It's not the other way around, that I keep on investing first and then I understand at the end of the month I don't have cash to run on daily expenses. So it also varies from person to person at the end of the day. However, I always say that you understand how much is required for daily expenses, then you move towards investing.
How can artists evaluate whether an investment product is genuinely suitable for their needs?
You want to go that, or I'll go that?
Actually, most of the banks or most of the wealth managers and all, they have their own tool of financial planning. So like once you go to them, they'll show you the tool. They have like proper questionnaire where you'll like answer your income, your expenses, like what are your liabilities. So basis those tools, they will like it. There is an output through which you come to know that this
So
is
there
your
are
risk.
advisors who will
Yeah.
give you this kind of
Yeah,
advice.
they'll do a financial planning, goal planning for you, and
Yeah.
actually tell you that this is your kind of risk appetite, and these are the suitable investment products.
Finally, you'll have to make the choice yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, and I'll carry on, I'll give a brief on this. What happens is that whenever you go to a bank or a wealth management firm, right, they do a brief analysis of how you're making on income, what your risk appetite is, and they give you a number, right? Maybe from 1 to 5, they'll give you 3, right? That is your risk appetite. And every product that this wealth management firm sells, they also have a ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you have a risk appetite of 3, they're going to pitch you products which have a risk appetite of 3 or lower. They will not pitch you a product with a risk appetite of 4. So that's how any bank or wealth management firm, they help you understand what is your risk appetite is and what the product suitability is.
Yeah, while they can, am I right in understanding, while they can decipher many things for you, explain many things for
Yes.
you, and also state
Yes.
what is the risk and what is the
Yes.
this thing, but at the end of the day, you will
Yes.
have to take the chance
Yes.
and risk yourself.
Yes,
And
there-
there are no guarantees.
Yes.
Is what one must understand,
Yes,
right?
that's the first thing they should understand. Market-linked things have no guarantees, right?
Yes.
They're always
Yes.
subject to market
I
risks.
think this needs to be
Yes,
restated.
yes.
What are common mistakes creatives make, creative people make when they start earning more? How would you know?
How would we know? But usually it's like if there is a sudden increase in income and all, usually it goes into discretionary kind of expenses. And let's say you were investing 10% of your income earlier in, let's say, some mutual fund, but you have not increased your like, or you have not kept that 10% same. It's like you have not increased your investment, like you are like kind of spending. So it should go proportionally. It's like if your income is increasing, or let's say your income stream has increased, so like proportionally you increase your investment as well. So keep it in parallel kind of.
Yeah, so you'll have to keep a watch on what you are earning, and if the earnings are going up,
Yeah.
that's what actually happens with creative people, because as they grow with the experience and expertise, they are in more demand, and then they can demand more from the organizers, etc. And that's what their income rises, and they must know that now is the time to cash on this increased income.
Right.
Okay. I'm not sure the next question is very clear. What if a person is very uncertain with money? Tell me an investment where it's fine if I don't put money in, and I can put it whenever I get money. I think what they mean is that every month, he doesn't know what is the certainty of
Right.
income, and therefore how does he go about? Are there any specific instruments?
Right. So basically, what we invest in this kind of thing is that rather than doing SIPs, you should invest in lump sums. Right. Basically, as and when you get the money, you put that money in certain asset classes. It may be FDs, it may be mutual fund, and just invest the money there and let it stay there for the time. So I think that's the best way you can grow your money over and over the time period, as and when you receive the money across.
So if you're not sure about your income and all, so it could be that you directly invest whenever that money comes in, let's say in any of the financial product. But if
FDs
you
or-
know that this is like you're tied up with a, let's say, a particular team or particular organization, and they are paying you on a monthly basis, and you know these are your cash flows, so then you can start, let's say, an SIP where like on a monthly basis you do an investment. But if you are unsure about it, you can, instead of doing an SIP in a particular fund, you can do a lump sum whenever you kind of get.
Whenever you can. So as and when you can, as and how much you can, against the SIP. Now, I also have one more question that we talked about the SIP, etc., which shows you a projected kind of a receipt. Like you say that